Hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. Obviously, because of the title of this video and probably the thumbnail, I don't know, haven't made it yet. Today's video is all about the best of the best, in my opinion, drugstore makeups. So if you want to see all the things I used and my thoughts on them, stick around, we're going to get into it. Let me just say real quick, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, you can do that now. I upload several videos every week, and if you click on the little bell and choose all, YouTube will notify you when I upload a new one. And you can choose to watch it or not. It's totally up to you. No pressure. Either way, I appreciate you being here. All right, I am about to have a very naked face. Brace yourself. Okay, here we go. All of my most favorites from the drugstore. I did a video similar-ish to this a while back, but it was like the best of the best, in my opinion, regardless of the price. But I thought this is all strictly drugstore, and I mean, these are items that I reach for all the time over many other options in my collection. So I'm going to start with foundation. I'm not going to lie and say that I have a favorite drugstore primer. I don't. I only ever use the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Powder Balm thingy, and admittedly haven't tried any other products for primer. I've tried a few in the past, I think predominantly high-end, and of course the e.l.f. putty stuff. I wasn't a fan of any of them. I have an oily T-zone and normal skin everywhere else, so they just didn't work for me. It's not to say that they're not amazing. They're just not something that I reach for my skin. So there's a few good drugstore foundations. I really like the CoverGirl with the orangey red cap. Oh, please. Okay, I'm back. I don't really remember where I was, except that I think I was talking about the drugstore foundations, and the CoverGirl with the orangey red cap is really good. But I also really like this Matte and Poreless by Maybelline. Again, oily T-zone, normal skin everywhere else. So I like a matte foundation. So this is really good in my opinion. So we're gonna use this one today. I don't know if it speaks to the cheapness or not, but there is no pump. It's a pour out one. However, I know there are some higher end foundations at Sephora that do not come with a pump. So there's that. I don't think that should be a factor in deciding whether a foundation is good or not. So those are just my 2 cents. I am going to go in with my e.l.f. putty brush, putty primer applicator. So I just poured a little bit out on my palette. It's a nice kind of runny-ish formula. So I'm just gonna get that blended all over my face. This is probably gonna look a little bit weird because I'm tan on my body, but not on my face. So we'll just even things out with bronzer. So let me get this blended on and I'll come back and show you how it looks. That's the foundation done. If you've been here for any length of time, you know my go-to concealer on the reg is the Wet n Wild Incognito concealer. This stuff is so darn good. I think it behaves very much like the KVD Good Apple concealer, which I really like. This is just such a fantastic concealer. I cannot say enough good things about it. And it's so cheap. And I'm 45 and my under eyes are every inch of that 45. So I'm very wrinkly and creasy into there, but this always looks pretty darn good. It's not flawless because my under eyes are not flawless, but I think they look as good as they can. And that's saying something if you ask me. Which, I mean, hopefully this is interesting enough for you if you're here watching. Don't go! All right, I'm just gonna blend this out. I'm using my Rare Beauty concealer brush. It's what I always use. There's probably a good drugstore dupe if you're looking for it. this isn't about brushes. This is about actual makeup. So, okay, let's do powder next. I haven't used this one a whole lot, mostly because I tend to reach for a loose powder, and this was in the way back of my drawer, but I've used it several times. It's the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Clarifying Finishing Powder. You can tell I've used it because there's almost pan in there. So now that it's back in the front of my drawer, I'm excited to play with it again. So I'm going to use my puff. This happens to be my Danessa Myricks puff. Don't panic, it's very white, but it's okay. It doesn't stay white on your face. I mean, I don't know if it would if you were considerably tanner than me. That might affect the finish, but if you're not, it should be okay. That's the powder. I will end up buffing away more of it. I just like to leave it sitting where I get the oiliest to kind of, I don't know, help head off the oils at the pass. I don't have a drugstore contour that I reach for a boatload. I almost always go for my Kevyn Aucoin or the Kaleidos, but I do have this Catrice Shape and Define contour stick, and I've used this several times, and it is a very, very nice contour stick. This one is cool toned, so it is not a bronzer. I see people constantly like, what am I doing? Saying that they're contouring, but they're really just bronzing. And it's none of my business. I don't care. You do what you want to do. That's totally fine. But you're not contouring. Wow, judgy much? I didn't grab a brush. You know what? I need to wash my brushes. I'll just use my foundation brush. I did clean it off on my handy dandy tip. Look at that. How many boops in was that with my brush? And it just blends. Why don't I reach for this more? I always assume it's going to be complicated blending out products over powder, and I have to powder because I think everything looks terrible until I powder. But look at that. And now there's a hair on me. It doesn't mess with my face at all. It just looks really good. It's a more natural contour. I could probably build it up, but I think it looks good. So I'm not really gonna bother doing that. I'm kind of lazy. All right, let's talk about bronzer. Again, you are not going to be the least bit surprised by my choice, but I wanted to give you two because I think choices are important and you have free will, so you can do whatever you want to do. I'm not the boss of you. However, if you're looking for recommendations, this e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand Contour is not a contour. It is a warm tone. It's a bronzer. But this is fantastic. I mean, like, full on, blends out, builds up, and just looks amazing on the skin. I would definitely recommend this. But if you're looking for a powder, dun dun dun, if you guessed the L'Oreal 24-Hour Fresh Wear Infallible Bronzer in 350 Medium, you win today's prize, which is just hanging out with me. Sorry. Funnily enough, I'm back to using this Eco Tools bronzing brush. This was my most favorite bronzing brush for years. And then I got my rougher brushes and my Wayne Goss brushes, and those are fantastic. Like, really, really good. I really like the number 4 from Rephr for bronzing and blush. But because I'm trying out still using my winter foundation when I have a tan, I have to use more bronzer. It's just the way it is. So I wanted a bit of a bigger, fluffier brush for a less precise placement. Normally, I like a very precise bronze, but we're trying to kind of color correct and, you know, even out the complete lack of tan on my face, because I do wear sunscreen on my face. And usually I'm wearing a hat if I'm outside. I'm not gonna say like every single time I step out the door I'm wearing a hat, but a lot of the time I am. Okay, now we have blush. And again, I don't think one of these is going to surprise you in the least. And that is the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush in Bold Heart. This is a kind of sheeny blush, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then I got the L'Oreal 24-Hour Fresh Wear Blush, and this is in the shade, oh please, I've accepted the fact that I can't see diddly squat without my reading glasses, so Confident Pink, that's the shade name. And this is a matte blush, so I think either one of these is going to be stunning. I've considered picking up the other colors in this and some of the Essence, but I have so many blushes. I just don't think I can justify it right now. So I'm gonna go in with the Bold Heart shade because I think it'll go better with the eye look. Which, if you're wondering about, it should already be up on my YouTube channel or will be coming soon. It's a Throwback Thursday look. Shh, don't tell anybody. And I like a pretty strong blush. I think it lends some youth maybe to my face, and I just like it a lot. So I go in pretty heavy with it, but I think it's cute. I've also been taking whatever's left on the brush over the edge of my bronzer just to kind of blend the two and add a little bit more natural-ish color to my face. Love it. Love it. If you have kids my kids' age, which is like pushing 30, did your kids watch Dragon Tales on PBS? I love Dragon Tales. Next up, before I go in with highlight, I always use a finishing powder. You are not it. You are it. And it's the L'Oreal 24-Hour Fresh Wear Powder Foundation. And you can tell that I'm not lying because look how much pan there is. I love this. I use it, I'd say more than half the time when I'm buffing. Sometimes I'll use the Sephora one, sometimes I'll use the Dior one, but this one I just love so much. It is a bit scented, so if that's not your idea of a good time, you should be aware of that. It is a 100% my idea of a good time. It smells so good to me. I love it. I just use that to buff over any edges, just, you know, smooth things out a bit. Okay, last but not least, we have highlighters, and I did choose 3. I chose 3 because, again, you should have choices, and all 3 of these are really, really, really good. Some are more like in your face and shimmery and highlighty than others. So let's go with the one I think is the least highlighty, but at one point in history was like one of the most highlighty, and it's the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder, and this is in the shade Blossom Glow. It's almost like a pink champagne-y color. This was before duo and multi-chromes were a thing, so this is like seriously pretty. It's on my ring finger. It's very, very nice. And then we have the Maybelline Master Chrome, and this is in the shade, it doesn't have a shade name on it, It could just be there's only one shade. I'm not sure. But this one is kind of more of a like champagne-y gold, whereas this one has like a pinkish shift. So pretty. And then we have the one I reach for all the time, and it is the J-Cat You Glow Girl Big Highlighter in Seaside Frost. I just think this is so nice. And it's more of that kind of like champagne-y, natural-ish, but very, very highlighty. And since I'm not afeared of putting on entirely too much highlighter, I thought we could just kind of layer them and see what we think. So I'm just cleaning off my brush a little bit on my handy dandy little nano towel. So I'm going into the Wet n Wild one on my brush. I'll just put that on here. Look at that. I mean, when this came out, it was knock your socks off glowy. Absolutely fantastic. So now on my other cheek, we'll go in with the Maybelline Master Chrome. So you can see what this one is like, and then we'll just end up mixing them. I don't know if you can see. Look at that. So pretty. And I mean, I'm sure if you've caught any videos of mine in the last 2 months, you've seen this. So I think I'm just gonna top both of them with this shade, because why not? I'm gonna mix in a little bit of the Wet n Wild over here just to give it a bit of that pinky hue. Yeah, I love highlight. I just think it's so fun. I know for a while there, the cool kids weren't putting on a boatload of highlight. But when I tell you I've never really been a cool kid, I'm okay with it. I do think I'm gonna use, let's use the Master Chrome on the rest of my face. And I really, like, every time I do my highlight on my Cupid's bow, my nose, inner corner, I always use the Rose & Ben E27. This is just an amazing brush for highlighting. I mean, look at that, just fits perfectly on the inner corner. Tip of the nose, boop, Cupid's bow, and then I always do this to kind of emphasize the dip in my Cupid's bow. So pretty. Just call me Rudolph. If the light hits me, I can lead the way. Okay, I'm gonna go off camera, finish up my under eye, do some mascara, which I'll tell you, in my opinion, best drugstore mascara of ever. Even, I think, maybe better than Bye Bye Panda Eyes. Only because I feel like it does make my lashes look longer. It's the L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black Mascara. I have been loving this. I don't get any mascara confetti under my eyes. It doesn't smudge. It doesn't go anywhere. It just makes my lashes look a little bit longer. Whereas the Bye Bye Panda Eyes made my lashes look black, and that's great when you're putting on falsies. But I wanted to try something new, so I tried this one, and boy howdy, I really like it. So let me go off camera, do mascara, finish up my eyes, whack on some brow gel, and a lip. I should do a lip. And I'll come back and we can wrap this up. All right, I'm back, and this is the finished look. I did go outside of the drugstore for my lip. I'm using my Stila liquid lipstick. This is my favorite red, and I really just needed a red lip to go with the red eyes. So, but I did use an LA Girl lip liner and Keep It Spicy. It's on the floor, and I haven't picked it up yet. So, You've seen that one before here over and over and over and over again. I love the LA Girl Ultimate Intense Auto Lip Liners and the eyeliners for that matter. So yeah, let me know in the comments section, are any of these drugstore products your go-to? Are there any that you were like, huh, I was wondering about that. Now I know at least what Jan thinks. Or are you just not a fan of drugstore makeups? Either way, it's totally fine. I really like chatting with you in the comment section. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate hanging out with me today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.